weather is turning. We had minus 12 degrees Celsius last night, and today the temperature is hovering around freezing. The precipitation has changed from snow to sleet, and it's turning to rain, and we will have rain for a week, beginning tomorrow, I think. The roads will turn to ice. Out here at the edge, of course, inland and further north, it's a whole different story. Temperatures of everything from minus 10 to minus 30, I think. So this is part two of two in my winter sowing escapade. And today I will first go through step by step how I've done this. I'll show you footage from the whole thing, taken over a week or so. And then in part one I showed you the annuals that I've sown in the first 4 boxes here, and now I've put out another 6 plastic trays, and I will show you. I have sown perennials in those, and I will show you at the end what those are. So let's start. It started with these plastic trays I bought cheap from the local box store. They're made of thin, brittle plastic. So the first thing I did was to poke a lot of holes in them. I heated an oil in the candle flame to make it warm, to be able to poke holes without breaking the plastic. I did anyway in a couple of cases, but it's very brittle. But it worked really nice. I've heard other people use glue guns, but this turned out nice. So I put about 5 or 6 holes in the top, 1 hole on each side, well above the soil line, and another 4, 5, 6 in the bottom. So the thinking is that precipitation will come through the holes in the top. There will be ventilation, and there will be enough drainage. I did a test. I poured water with my watering can on top of a lid, just to see how much water escaped down into the soil, and it wasn't much. But that's how I like it, because as I said in part 1, I'd rather that it's too dry, and then I can supplement the water by myself. That's no problem. Rather than it being too moist, because then it will probably rot and I can't do anything about it. Okay, so then I put a layer of clay pellets in the bottom of each tray, just to maximize drainage. Then I mixed 2 different varieties of planting soil. I'm not really that knowledgeable about soils. I bought 1 cheap version and 1 expensive one, but when I read the back of the packages, I really couldn't tell the difference. It seemed like they were pretty well fertilized, both with macro and micronutrients, and pretty much the same composition, but the one was 3 times as expensive as the other one. Anyway, I just mixed 2 bags just in order to get enough soil to cover these 10 trays. And then I put that about 2-3 inches in the bottom, on top of the clay pellets in each tray. What I should have done after that was to water in the soil properly, and mix it around. I let it set. You're supposed to pre-water that soil pretty much, but I forgot. So what I did instead was move on to the next step, which was to, above the layer of soil, I added a barely half inch layer of sowing soil. which, as I have understood it, is very low in nutrients, but it's very fine. So I'm guessing the thinking is that it will be easy for seeds to germinate in the sowing soil, but once they do, they need more nourishment pretty soon than what they can get from just sowing soil. So many advise against using sowing soil at all, but I just put a thin layer on top. And then my thinking is that once the roots start to grow, they will hit on the more nutrient-rich soil in the bottom. And I think it's not at all the most fertilized soil you could get, but I think they will have plenty of nutrients to last them until April at least, when I'm supposed to plant them out.
Future me here. I forgot to mention that I first added perlite to the sowing mix. Perlite is new to me. It's some kind of volcanic material. You can see me adding it to the potting mix, to the sowing mix here. It serves two purposes. It shields young seeds and seedlings from too much sun, and it also aerates the soil. It increases the air circulation in the soil. So I think I should have mixed the perlite into the planting soil, which makes up 2/3 of the tray, the contents of the trays, instead of just to the sowing soil at the top. But this is what I did. So yeah.
Then I remember that I should have watered the soil beneath. So what I did was I filled a basin in the basement with water, and I just put the trays down in the water and let it soak from underneath for a while. I hope that was enough. I think it was. And then it was time for sowing. I bought 26 different kinds of seed, I think, in the end, and I tried different varieties. First of all, I made marking pins for everything, and I had a schedule also, so that I know exactly what I have in each tray. I could have used little containers inside of each tray, but I didn't want that hassle, so I've just tried to separate roughly between the different parts of the tray. I think I will be able to tell the difference between most of the seedlings, and anyway, they're kind of sorted in each tray, so if I mistake one for the other, that's not a big deal, because they will be pretty much different kinds of the same variety. I tried using pincers for the very small seeds. Sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I just poured the seeds out, sometimes I I tried different ways of scattering the seeds. At first I thought that I would try to sow as few seeds as possible, so to avoid later on having to prick out the seeds. But I lost patience after a while, and for the very small seeds there was not a chance I could be bothered with picking them one by one. So in the end I just scattered most of the seeds. Yeah, and after that I fill up with just a teeny weeny amount of more sowing seed on top. So I guess most seeds are buried behind a few 1 to 2 millimeters of extra additional sowing soil. Some haven't been covered because I didn't fill up that closely, I just scattered it in a bit. And then, as I said, I put the trays in a basin filled with water so that the soil could soak up the moisture below. And then I had a hand sprayer, and I sprayed on top also, quite vigorously. That was about it, I think. And then I put them out here. So now it's time for the big reveal. And I will put up pictures on the screen. So as I said, the first 4 containers contain annuals, which I showed in part 1. So this is the first new one. And what do we have here? We have Aquilegia, Columbine, 2 different varieties. One pink and one a bit more grayish pink. Nora Barlow, I think that's a classic. And we also have a Chinese Buttercup, which is actually a perennial. So all 3 of these should be perennial. And they look, I like the look of them. They look a bit strange, sci-fi kind of things. Yeah. Okay, and in here we have Monarda bee balm. I have one kind in a bed over there, which I really like. Red, kind of a queen's crown, it looks like. This is another variety, more purple. I'm not sure I like this one as much, but it will be interesting to see. Then in the middle we have Agastache, or hyssop. In Swedish it's called Aesop or anis. Aesop. So I guess it's related to anise. Well, it's a kind of anise. And I think you can even use it in cooking. Blue one, of course. Well, of course, most are, not all. And then a Veronica, a Speedwell, light blue, a bit too light actually for my taste, I think. But I have a lot of salvias and agastaches and other things of that nature. So I'd like to extend the color range from deep blue up to almost white. So I think they will look nice together. Okay, then we have. Let's turn this around. Gaura, Onothera, as it's called nowadays. The classic variety, butterfly flower. I really like the slender, long stems with not a lot of foliage, and then on top these waving pink, white, butterfly-like delicate flowers. I really like those. It's a perennial, but I'm not sure it's hardy here. I have plans to put it on a couple of places, and I will also put it in containers. Is my thinking, as I'm not sure. Maybe I'll have to treat it as an annual. So I will put some in the gravel garden and some in the south-facing border. Next in the middle we have a kind of Thrift or Armeria. We have quite a lot of Thrift around here at the beach and so on, and I have some variety already in my rockery, or on the sunniest side of the garden. But this one is more pink than the ones I have, if I remember correctly. It had some brand name as well, I can't remember, but you'll see it on screen. And then third, maybe I should have had more space for these seeds actually. Should have just had 2 varieties. But anyway, to the right here is an Echinacea, a Yarrow. A fruit bowl mix, I think. So many different colors. And I absolutely love Achilleas of all kinds. I have several different kinds and colors scattered around the garden, and I want as many as I can get. I really like them, and if they self-seed, that's quite okay. So these should be perennial, with a bit of a caveat when it comes to the Gaura. Okay, then we have a Celosia, which looked really nice. Looked a bit like a Nymphophia. The same kind of fireworks thing with orange and yellow, like a burning fire on the top. I think it's called coxcomb. I'm not sure if that's a vulgar name that is used in English-speaking countries, but I saw it online. I really like the look of that. And then we have Coreopsis. And the Celosia is supposed to be a perennial, but the Coreopsis, I guess, is an annual. One of the few annuals that I've sown in these new crates. And that variety of Coreopsis wasn't really that nice, I think, and it was very similar to the summer Rudbeckia that I talked about in part 1. An annual Rudbeckia with a mixture of red and yellow. Not my favorite, but you never know. Okay, here we have Echinacea, 2 different varieties. The one is called Deep Rose something, and the other was called Red Ombre, I think. Neither of them are red though. One is neon purple, and the other is, I can't remember, but it's not red as I recall anyway. Really, really small seeds. I really hope these germinate, because you can't get too many Echinacea. And my beloved blackbirds can't get enough of them either. As I also mentioned in the previous part, it's hard for me to keep my blackbirds well fed because they get outcompeted by crows and seagulls and other bigger birds. So I kind of sneak out when I see them and give them food. And so that, yeah. Okay, last one. What do we have here? We have 2 different kinds of Dianthus. I love Dianthus. Next to Yarrow, it's one of my absolute favorite. I love them, every kind of Dianthus, and there are a lot of different varieties, and I love them all. There is one here that I think is called Carnation in English. Actually, in Swedish we call all Dianthus varieties Carnation, or the equivalent of Carnation. Then we have a creeping mounding low ground cover Dianthus with really nice red flowers. I have similar ones scattered around. I really hope these do well. I have several places where I want to put them. They're perfect in front of a border, of course, and also in a rockery or even in a gravel garden, I think. Yeah, that was it. I hope you found this interesting, and see you around.